I wouldn't classify myself as an avid media user, but I would classify myself as an avid media observer. I like going on to different forums and different social media platforms to see what people are doing, kind of read things, read articles. My big, top 3 apps that I would use definitely would be Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. If you could call Facebook an app, I would definitely say that's like the 4th biggest thing I'm on. But more or less those big 3 of Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter are like the 3 I use every day. I use training devices every single day, multiple times a day, in working out. So it's hard to put a number on it, but it's every time I go for a workout, I have some type of training device on me, recording data. If I go out without a training device, which is again is super rare, I don't feel lost at all. I definitely feel a lot more liberated and like I can shut the connection off. But there's days where I'll take a device out and I won't look at it, and I just need the data for my coach. I'm a big field-based athlete, so I know more or less to the exact heart rate and the exact power number or the exact pace I'm doing. I can tell you right then and there without having to look at the numbers. So if I do take a device out and I don't want to look at it, I can easily kind of shut it off or turn the screen away so I don't have to look at it. Yep, so I use, 2 different categories of training devices. I have kind of in-workout devices and I have recovery devices. And even before I get into that, I use a training platform called Training Peaks, which you can get as an app on your phone, and you get an app on your laptop. It's just a website, and it allows my coach to send training plans and daily workouts and weekly workouts to my phone, and I can look at all the data I need to do for that day. Starting on the bike, I use 3 big pieces of technology. I use a power meter, which records watts produced with each pedal stroke. I use a Garmin 820 head unit, which records how fast I'm going, my speed. It links up to my power meter and my heart rate meter. I can get pedal efficiency, I can get all these crazy data on it, and it helps me keep track of how hard I'm going and how easy I'm going. And that's a big part that's overlooked, is how easy you have to go on the bike and with the run as well. More often than not, I find myself going too hard and not easy enough. So these pieces of data and pieces of equipment can help me make sure I'm going too easy and I'm not building chronic fatigue and I'm not just going slightly just over, even by 1% of my recovery zone, to make sure I'm being fully recovered to prepare for the next workout. So those are the 3 things I use on the bike. The 2 pieces of devices I use on the run would again be the Garmin heart rate monitor, and then I have a Garmin F230 running watch, which basically I just track my cadence, time, and cadence, time, and my pace, my heart rate. Those are the only 3 things I need on the run. I don't care about distance. We train basically on time, and again, these are usually to help me go easy, not to go hard. I know my body, and I know what 5-15 mile pace feels like. I know how hard I need to go, and I can tell very easily if I'm going too hard. I'm finding it very difficult to know if I'm going too easy. So mainly my devices during the bike and the run are to help me go easy and not to go too hard. So those are the devices I wear during workouts. I don't wear a device during the swim. I haven't found anything really good that tracks data on the swim other than just perceived effort. And you really aren't going to be swimming and looking at a watch. I mostly just stare at the clock if I need to do that, like a pace clock. And then devices I use for recovery, I have a Fitbit Charge, which tracks sleep and resting heart rate. So we need to make sure we get 8 to 9 hours of sleep. And in your deep sleep cycle, your body naturally releases HGH, human growth hormone, or testosterone. So the longer and the faster you can get into your deep sleep cycle, the more recovered you can get. And then we look at resting heart rate as well. So right now I'm in a recovery week, and my resting heart rate is down to like 45. And during a big training block, it could get as high as 55 beats per minute. So we use this as a gauge to make sure I'm being recovered enough, and we're not going too hard, and we're not kind of crossing over into like ultimate fatigue and things like that. And that's kind of what I use for technology. For some like non-technological pieces, a foam roller, I get my calves always rolled out before and after. I have a lot of hip issues, so I roll out kind of my lower back into my glutes with the foam roller, and just make sure that I'm all kind of loosened up before sessions. And then it helps break up lactic acid and stretch out your muscles afterwards, along with stretching. And then the last piece of equipment I use would be the Normatec recovery boots, and it's just an air pump based system that is controlled by a head unit, and it has a hose that attaches from the head unit to a 5-chamber leg sleeve that fills up with air and basically just compresses and massages your leg to help flush out lactic acid, massage your muscles, and kind of get you ready for the next session. And more or less, that's what all these devices are doing, is helping me prepare for the next session. The work you're doing is important in the session now, but it's more important to be recovered or to go hard so the next session is you're kind of ready to go forward, ready to attack it. Posting training data on social media is something I have kind of struggled with internally. In my mind, there's two schools of thought. There's putting the data out there so people know that the results you're doing are real and they're tangible, and you're not just taking performance-enhancing drugs to get these results. And then there's the other aspect of everything I do is self-motivated and self-driven, and very little outside of my kind of bubble influences me. I like putting training data out there so people know that I am working hard and these results are attainable. I'm not, again, using performance-enhancing drugs, but is it nowhere near dependent on, I want to do a really hard session so people like my status or like my Strava. I do it for my own gratification myself. I like working hard because it makes me happy, clears my head. I don't do it for outside reasons or outside influences.